Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
The atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand.
It is our basic human right to be fuck up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Hello and welcome to Occultae Veritatis podcast. I am Ood Gallifrey. You're listening to part 2 of a 2-part series on Dungeons, Dragons, and their relation to the satanic panic of the 1980s. So, if you would like to get the full context, just listen to the episode before this one. If it doesn't matter that much to you, then continue on to enjoy part 2.
Well, Phil, not only is there occultic overtones here, but definite violence and killing, and this could lead the children to think that killing is okay, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So what do we as parents, what can we do? What is our response?
Well, the responsibility lies on the parents to train up their child, to guide that child. In fact, the word training in the Greek means to narrow the child, like a river flowing through a canyon, and that river is narrowed and guided in the way it should go. But you know who's really responsible for this? It's the people who are supposed to provide the spiritual priesthood within a family, and that's the fathers. See, the fathers are commanded by God to be the priest of their home, but many fathers don't take that seriously. And if fathers would take that seriously and expect God to anoint them to lead their families and anoint them to guide their children in the way they should go and to bring about spiritual change within the home and to eliminate the things that are going to hinder their children's spiritual walk, because they will be held accountable for what happens to their children
Especially the fathers.
Yes, definitely.
Well, the Bible says that God will turn the heart of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers in Isaiah 54. Do you have any scripture that would indicate the father's responsibility? I know we're told to put the word before the children.
Well, in Deuteronomy chapter 6, it talks about training up, teaching the child on a daily basis, speaking the word to that child as they rise up in the morning, as they go along the way, as they go to bed. And it even goes so far as to tell us to put preeminence on the word by tying it to the wrist or to the forehead. We're not talking about that, but what the inference there was that the word of God is to take preeminence within our homes, and that we're to speak our relationship to the Lord, to our children. We're to tell them how God has interacted in our lives, how God has healed us, how God has brought us into prosperity, how God saved us and brought us out of Egypt type thing, out of the spiritual bondage that we were in, and how God can do that for the child. And that's what we relate to him. And we talk about our relationship with the Lord on a daily basis.
Yes. I think that right now we should really reiterate, you parents that are watching today, it is your responsibility. If you allow your children to watch these cartoons, if you allow them to bring these comic books into the house, if you allow them to have these toys or you buy them for them, you're going to be held responsible before God. God says not to bring an accursed thing into your house, lest you should be accursed as it is. These things are occultic, they're accursed. They teach the children to get into spells and to witchcraft and to serve demon powers, and demon occultic pagan religions are, the mystic religions of the East are all propagated through this. And I pray in the name of Jesus today that any of you that have this bondage in your household, your children are rebellious and being drawn by these things, I pray in Jesus' name that God would break that bondage today. We loose it right now, and we put the blood of Jesus over you, your family, and your children. God bless you now from the Eagle's Nest.
D&D actually got involved in a couple murder cases also. That's another controversy about it. It was
Controversy.
Controversy.
It's like a Cheers at this point. Controversy.
Controversy.
So mind flayers are like octopuses with bodies that do psychic shit from beyond the stars. And they manipulate with mortals' minds, and they feed on psychic powers, etc., etc., etc.
And they're a Mivhind.
In 1987, at the peak of the Satanic Panic, Daniel Castian murdered his parents after fearing their rejection and their reaction to his poor grades in college. After he got arrested and after he met with his lawyer, after the initial interview with the police, he came to court with the defense that Lord Derelith, the leader of the Mind Flayers, was controlling his mind from beyond the stars and forced him to kill his parents. As a partial plea, like a insanity defense. Like, he was under the delusion that this fictional character from D&D was telling him to kill things. And, of course, this case was used as fuel for the fire for the Satanic Panic. Like, look at... He was so deluded that he thought that this demon from beyond the stars was talking to him, and who knows, maybe there is a demon named Lord Derelith, and he's actually talking to him, etc., etc., etc.
Jeez Louise.
He was found guilty. The Mind Flayer defense didn't work. There was also the murder of Leith von Steen. So in 1988, again, not long after, kind of still in the heat of the Satanic Panic, Leith von Steen, an American businessman in a textile factory. What is textile, by the way? I don't know that.
Like
fabric.
Yeah, fabric.
Yeah. Clothing.
Everyone just jumped on him.
Yeah.
A plan was made up by his stepson and two co-conspirators to kill him and take the insurance money upon his death. His wife Bonnie was also severely beaten, but also survived. It was an insurance scam murder, and they were trying to get about $2 million worth of insurance money. The prosecutor used the fact that the three played D&D as like a character argument towards them. So he was trying to say, since these three played D&D, their characters are sullied, so they are practicing murder rituals. He described D&D as practicing murder rituals using a game, and they were using the D&D game to ritually practice the murder of another, and that's what led to the murder of Leith von Steen, and this was an argument made by the prosecution.
Well, that seems like nonsense.
Oh yeah, and it was a little tangent the prosecutor got off on, like for maybe like a couple minutes one day, but the media took that angle and just ran with it. Like, that was just part of the prosecution's defense. Like, he just offhandedly mentioned, yeah, they're playing role-playing games, and it kind of simulates murder, so maybe they learned from that. And the media ran with it and kind of blew it up. That was the reason they were being prosecuted, and that had to fuel the Satanic Panic, and it was made into 2 movies. The movies are Honor Thy Mother and Cruel Doubt. 2 movies about how D&D led to the murder of a father.
Could you imagine trying to use D&D as like the methodology of like planning somebody's murder, though?
First off, like, could you imagine? Squishy, so they don't even have a good CR.
Exactly. well, it's like, okay, so roll the dice. Well, okay, I move 20 feet that way. Well, now they've gone to the other room. Oh, shit. You roll the dice again. It's like, okay, well, now I can go another 20 feet, and I will cast my magic spell, and you do some sort of twirly Sailor Moon transition effect or something. And then they kind of look at you weird, and then you're like, shit, that failed. And you roll again, and you're like, I will use my knife. But by then they've like walked away, and like it would be a very terrible mechanic to learn to kill someone.
The only thing I could see is, since it did have its roots in like a strategy game, right? Because it was wargaming, that maybe you could get a perfect layout of your house to the foot, and maybe you could move figures around, and maybe you could plan, well, if Dad's going to be in here and he moves over to here, I can be here. But you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons anymore. You were just committing
plotting
conspiracy
a murder,
to kill someone. Like,
yeah, the end of that equation is an AI that can perfectly simulate reality.
Yeah, right?
What was the name of the second movie you said?
Oh, Cruel Doubt.
Cruel Doubt. There's Honor Thy Mother is not... It's on neither Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Oh, no.
Cruel Doubt.
I bet you I could steal it.
Oh, yeah, I could steal it, too.
So
you wouldn't download a movie.
I would totally download a movie. What are you talking about?
So
I have a VPN.
I thought I found the worst book, but then Arthur told me about his book, so I'm going to present my book, and I'm going to describe my book as a mature look at the mechanics of sex compared to Arthur's book. So this, just to finish off the episode, a couple funny books in the realm. This is the Book of Erotic Fantasy. This is a real D&D module that was published in October 2003, and it's kind of a clinical, fairly mature explanation into breaking down fucking into dice rolls.
Can I have some more cider while we're talking about fucking and dice rolls?
Yes.
I need some.
So, feats are something you can add to your character. So, in real life, a feat might be like, I learned to do a backflip on the trampoline. In D&D, feats are like new tricks your character can learn to power it up. That's sort of an explanation for what a feat is.
Yeah.
In the Book of Erotic Fantasy, you gain 2 feats. Chaste life. As long as you don't fuck, you gain +2 to any stat.
I am stronger because I have not dicked.
Yes.
Not fake dicked in a game.
Yeah.
They also have the flip side of that. Feat is another one, bloodlust. You get +2 to any stat 24 hours after you fuck. There was magic added.
It sounds sort of based in reality, to be quite honest.
Okay, but I could see that for maybe charisma, but how does that work for like, I am more wise, as recently I have dicked?
Maybe somebody's getting it,
and now you know like 5 or 6 new positions. So you've got that increased. You know, you're doing like
flexible.
the helicopter, and then like the grasshopper, and then
Yeah, I'm more able to resist poisons because I have fucked recently.
maybe somebody's like getting pissed off at you in traffic, and you're just like, I'm mad or not. Your opinion of conflict, for my dick was wet just last night.
I just had sex.
They also added in new spells for the magic users to use. This is a spell called Orgasmic Vibration, which, if you save a fortitude save, you orgasm for 1d6 rounds. You're just on the ground twitching. I don't know. Would you judge the strength of the orgasm? I don't know.
Well, and let's remember too, a round is 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's between 6 seconds and 36 seconds of coming.
That seems about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Except on that high end.
Yeah.
Half a minute's a little long, at least for me.
The another a spell on the way more powerful end. Imagine an orgasm that can fucking kill you. So just to give you a span, a regular commoner human in D&D has about 10 hit points. There's a spell, a 7th level spell called Cursed Orgasm, that does 1d6 damage per level. If you're a 20th level mage and you use Cursed Orgasm, that's an average of 76 damage. That means it's an orgasm enough to kill 7 humans.
Is this why you were rolling 20d6 last night, or asking Google to roll 20d6 last night?
That was for that was to determine. I forget that was to determine.
Because isn't that what you're talking about? I can't remember, but we were rolling 20d6.
The mind is strong, but the body
yes,
is
that's
weak.
it. Because I was taking notes when you guys were just chilling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you couldn't get Google to do it. I got Google to do it.
You had the magic words.
Title of my sex tape. I got Google to do it.
Yep.
Oh.
There's already a Siri porn star. Why not a Google? Come on. Let's get a Facebook in there too. And Twitter.
And Twitter.
Get Tay
I'd fuck Twitter.
Yeah. It can be Twatter.
It's a.
I don't think I'd fuck Facebook though.
And Fuckbook.
Oh,
and Instaham.
Facebook feels like it would be
Dirty.
hasn't showered.
Yeah.
Hasn't showered, is a little older than their profile led on, and oh my, riddled with STIs.
So
or too many minion memes.
So I know what you guys are asking. How do you determine how long a fairy can fuck a giant? I know that's been on the tip of your tongues all night.
All night.
Months.
Yeah.
It's been on the tip of your tongue all night is the name of my sex tape.
Well,
sex tape band.
Well, according to the Book of Erotic
My
Fantasy,
dick pencil.
This is how it breaks down. So a 6-inch tall fairy fucking a 21-foot tall storm giant would have to roll a fortitude save at a -18 penalty. The result which is the amount of times you fuck equal to your roll times 10 minutes. So say you roll a natural 20 minus your 18. That means if you're a fairy and you roll a natural 20 in your fortitude save, Like the highest you can roll, you can sustain sex with a 21-foot giant for 2 minutes.
That wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah.
As a 20-foot tall giant.
I hope everybody that heard that carries that knowledge to their graves.
Yeah. And that Arthur would have finished about 4
Fairies and 20-foot giants can fuck for 2 minutes.
Fairies and
As long
20-foot
as they
giants.
roll
Making it name of my new sex tape.
At the max.
Also, if they roll a 19, they can have sex for 1 minute.
It's like trying to figure out when you see a dog, right, and it's a Chihuahua Saint Bernard mix, and you're like, which one was the mother? Because on either side, it's like, I know it was a Saint Bernard, but that means either artificial insemination or someone held their Chihuahua up and fucked a Saint Bernard with it, or a Saint Bernard fucked a Chihuahua. These are the reasons I don't.
And then, and then the Chihuahua had to give birth to huge
to
babies.
a puppy its own size, which is why the Saint Bernard has to be the mom.
The Saint Bernard has to be the mom,
Yeah.
and most likely artificial insemination.
And squirts them out like lima beans. Yeah.
What?
Because they're so small.
OV-Pod brought to you by Lima
And
Beans.
it's
like
such
baby
a
puppies.
big-
Baby puppies.
Because baby Chihuahuas are like this big.
Okay, C-section babies. Thank you, CCQ.
So, like I said, I thought this was the worst book, but then Arthur told me about his book, so I'll
but
hand it
not
off.
not with
We're selling C-section babies.
not like with like a Chihuahua cannot give birth to Saint Bernard puppies.
So I'm actually going to deviate a little bit from what our good friend Ood here has said, because I'm going to go over one more controversy.
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 This time, there's a game that a lot of people have heard of called Vampire the Masquerade.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
And it's produced by a company called White Wolf, or recently was, until recently. So they released their 5th edition print, and so RPGs do this all the time, where they continually update their prints, and then they'll release, okay, we've changed a bunch of shit, here's the new one, here's second, here's third, here's fifth. So they put 5th edition out. Now, a little bit of background on White Wolf. They've already had accusations of dog whistle, which we talked about earlier or later.
Tune into our fascist propaganda episode.
Yeah. So accidentally used some Nazi dog whistles.
Whoops.
And alt-right wording. So there's a group, a clan of vampires called the Bruja.
Yep.
And they're animalistic, they're fighters, and they're always sort of anti-authoritarian.
Hey, I just learned what a dog whistle was earlier today.
And now you know why this is important. So
I was there.
So from the 2nd edition, so this is a couple editions back, here's a character example of a Bruja. And it says a bunch of stuff, but they say, dresses in a way that conflicts with the clan. They may also dress and assume the attitudes of street hoods, neo-Nazis, and deadheads. So right in their source material, they're talking about one of their clans dressing like neo-Nazis. So when neo-Nazis play this game, they're probably going to play Bruja. So with that background, in April 18th of 2017, Vox reported on some LGBTQ violations in Chechnya.
Right.
So in Chechnya at the time, they had rounded up about 100 LGBTQ people and put them into camps, tortured them, and I think 3 of them were killed. This was condemned by the State Department, by LGBT groups everywhere. Like, it was condemned worldwide.
Yeah.
That was the guy, that was the president of the country who was saying, like, there are no gay people in my country.
Yeah, there are no gay people in my country. They don't exist, while there's 100 of them in a literal concentration camp.
Yeah. Which is another way of dog whistling saying they're not real people.
They wanted to destroy me, like I'm nothing.
Ahmed Jabreilov survived torture. The 27-year-old is from Chechnya and survived an anti-gay purge in the Russian Republic.
It was, all about hitting, beating, and they were using feet, plastic pipes, along pipes. And after they started using electroshock.
Jabreilov says soldiers kidnapped him from a hair salon he was working at in 2017 before bringing him to a secret torture facility where other gay men were being held. For 2 weeks, he thought about how he would escape and contemplated suicide.
I was screaming to stop this. And each time I was, screaming, standing up because I couldn't see, and even my hands was handcuffs.
Human Rights Watch says gay purges in Chechnya have continued. Gay men are captured, beaten, and outed to their families.
A year later, White Wolf publishes Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. it talks about this group called the Camarilla. The Camarilla is an overarching sort of shadow government of vampires that their goal is to make sure that the vampires keep the Masquerade, making sure the humans that they feed on don't know vampires exist.
Mhm.
So I have 2 quotes from this. One's short, one's a little longer. From their source material, almost no mortals know the truth about Chechnya, or how it has become an undead refuge, a homeland from the kindred, which are Camarillan people, vampires, where vampires not only rule with absolute authority, but can exist in the open. So, a little problematic that this place that was just killing gay people is actually run by vampires that you are playing in this game, but that's not that bad, right? Here's
They
a
could
long...
have chosen anywhere.
Could have chosen anywhere that wasn't currently in the news for killing people.
And it would have been in the news while they were writing it.
And here's a year before they wrote it, so they had time to think this through.
Yeah.
So here's the longer point about Chechnya. The recurring international controversy over the persecution of homosexuals is a clever media manipulation designed to keep the focus on Sharia law, away from the true inner workings of the Republic. While homosexuals are indeed held in detention facilities for days and humiliated, starved, tortured, and eventually fed upon and killed, this is not the point. The point is to distract from the truth of what Chechnya has become. That said, even among the kindred, that's the Camarilla vampires, any kind of homosexual behavior is punished harshly. There's unfortunately nothing we can do for our brothers and sisters in Chechnya who suffer under this. Interference is ill-advised at this point. So this is source material shit. This is shit in the book that I can open up and say, if I'm going to be... I have to know that my faction of people, my people, are currently killing homosexuals in Chechnya to blame Muslims so that people won't pay attention to vampires.
Yeah.
Christ.
So...
That's problematic, like, as fuck.
Yeah, so even if that was just a fake... country, we're in Slavistan and we're doing this thing, that would be problematic. But the fact that it was Chechnya after this just happened because they're trying to be edgy and in the news, they later retracted that from their republishing of the 5th edition. And White Wolf was taken over by, I don't remember who their parent company is, but some big game developer. They no longer have the reins to their own game. So that's the kind of thing that is problematic in the industry, aside from just shitty gamer people.
Yeah.
Now, the worst RPG ever,
I'm not prepared for this.
which is out of print but easily found on the Wayback Machine, is
Yep.
called Fatal. It originally stood for Fantasy Adventure to Adult Lechery.
Oh.
It got pulled from all the forums because that was too much, so they rebranded it From Another Time, Another Land. And here's what I have written down. Examples of this fucking writing. So first off, in D&D, you're a dungeon master. In a lot of games, you're a game master or a storyteller. In this, you're the MM, the MAME Master, as in to maim and brutalize. So if that doesn't give you a little bit there. There's a spot right in the 12th page. Now, this is a 901-page source document, which is huge.
Yeah.
I got through 130 lines of it. There is a thing talking about skill checks, and a skill check is when I want to climb this wall, and your DM says, roll strength, to strength your way up there. So to explain this, here is, and someone can read this, and I think I want Sage to read this because it's fun. This is the wording from the source book on how ability checks work as an example.
All right, here we go. For instance, a slovenly trollop offers herself to a strapping young adventurer if and only he can exponentially say a tongue twister of her choice. Driven by hormones, the young male agrees and asks, "What is the tongue twister?" The courtesan challenges. Huge hung hero hunks hastily, hump horny, heaving hot whores. How about it, huh?
So that's on the 12th page explaining how the game is going to work.
Oh, yes. Lots of humping whores.
Yeah, humping whores and the first thing you're going to do, you're going to find a hoe.
A slovenly trollop.
A slovenly trollop that is going to offer you sex, but only if you can...
do a tongue twister.
Oh, and the part after that I cut out because it's a long bit is something about finding someone with a more deft tongue.
What sex workers are accepting tongue twisters as payment?
The next, yeah, like it's just ridiculous. The other thing with this game is just on a mechanic standpoint. There's so much. There's so many skills and things to go off, and not only are there so many, it's out of hundreds. There's entire charts, which I have printed out here on real paper, that talk about your different skills and how a higher level will do different things. So this is a physique bodily attractiveness.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So it goes from 1 to 310, because obviously it's 310.
I'm going to roll a 310-sided die.
But it goes 1 to 24, 25 to 39. Yeah, it's like, why? Anyway. So if you have a 1, if you're a man, you have minus 18 physical fitness, strength, and height. If you have a medium, like you're a little better, you have 1 plus physical fitness, strength, and height. This is for attractiveness, right? So it's making you prettier. So if you're stronger and more fit and taller, you're prettier. If you're full top level, you have 34 plus physical fitness, strength, and height. There's a female modifier sided to this as well. If you are a really, like a normal but just a little above average, you get +1 to cup size, -1 to strength, and -1% body fat. However, if you roll really poorly, you could have up to a -18 to cup size and +18% body fat. And if you are the top, most attractive, sexiest person in this game, you will have a +34 to cup size, -34 to strength, and a -34% body weight, which is obviously, it's not even trying to say whatever. It's the more attractive man is more fit, stronger, and taller, and the more attractive woman has tits to here, is weak and skinny.
Don't they know that booty's in, not boobs?
The age of the booty is here.
Also, look at the art. Can someone describe the art to me, please?
Okay. Like this woman with large hips and I guess a larger chest, but like the waist is terribly disproportionate. Like there's absolutely no possible way to make that happen.
It's like a cinched corset waist.
Yeah. But they're like nude, so this is like her actual bone structure and muscle.
She's got no
structure.
ribs.
Like there's
They're
no
gone.
ribs.
They were
just
removed by
disappeared by I don't know, some sort of roll of the dice, I guess.
Yeah.
Then this other one, I don't know, looks kind of like a pear, sort of.
No, just like really skinny, and also like it looks kind of like a shrew, and like real big in the legs.
It looks like she's like
She looks
giving
like a
the
broom
finger as well. It looks like they're giving the finger there.
And if you were to like describe the age of person you thought probably drew this,
10?
Yeah. A lot of this game, and I only got through, and I didn't read 130 pages because I did not read 130 pages. But I got through 130 pages of it, and it's written by some 12-year-old who's never had sex. They go into...
And they're like big bags of sand.
Big, huge titties and tiny waists. That's what's sexy. They
for like 40-year-old virgin there.
And they go into races. And in Dungeons and Dragons, you have humans and elves and orcs and dwarves and halflings, and they can all work together in this wonderful mishmash of adventuring. Not so much in Fatal. Would someone like to read this quote to me? So this is a note to the MAME Master on racial diversity.
Oh no. However, even if the MAME Master is experienced, caution should be heeded regarding the mixture of races among the player characters. Racial diversity is likely to cause gaming problems such as threatening group cohesion if properly role-played.
What?
Yeah. So if you play...
If you play well, it is going to create...
Racism.
Because
if you're a troll character, or you're a dwarf, or you're an elf, you can't hang out with humans because you can't mix the races. There's also a whole list of racial slurs. It's one of those where you have the list on top and the list on the side, and then like a diagonal list. So like a human will call an elf a knife ear, and a troll will call an elf this. And they put so much work into what slurs you're going to use.
Slurs and titties
and as I'm sure you figured out by this bloody chart for physical attractiveness, and that was not an isolated thing. You can roll for all kinds of things, like your skin color. Human skin color can go from pearly white to a workman's tan.
Yeah,
that is the range from
That's it.
pearly white to, are you from Greece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the limit.
There's no black. There's no dark brown. There's no
anything.
First Nations. There's no anything. And of course, there's green. You could be a green human.
Yep.
But you want to be black? Sorry, racial diversity.
They had to. Yeah, good thing they got green in there. I'm sure they didn't miss anything.
I think.
Well, I mean, like at least the South Park RPG, you know, if you can go black, and then the difficulty of the game is at the maximum difficulty.
I like that.
And that's a way you can look at a real problem and lampoon it in a constructive way. Where like, hey, look, if you're black, it's harder for you. See, look, this is not.
It's called institutional racism mode. Yeah.
There's, if your intelligence is under 11 out of 100, and I'm not going to say the proper term because obviously it's not particularly nice. And I'm sure you might even figure it out. You can either re-roll because you shouldn't have that low of an intelligence, or you get a bonus to your strength modifier because you have R-word strength.
Oh no!
And then it describes R-word strength for a full page.
Jesus. Like it goes on about how it works,
about how it works and the different modifiers, and if you have this low of an intelligence, your modifier goes. The dumber you are, the stronger you are. Which would be like if that was a mechanic in whatever game, I'd say, haha, funny parody mechanic of the dumb brute versus the intelligent weakling. This is not that.
No.
This is saying if you're mentally handicapped, you are stronger because I am 12.
Yeah.
And now, since we've already gone through physical attractiveness and rolling for your very limited color palette, obviously, there's a whole section on sexual features because there's so much fucking in this game. Oh, and rape. There's how to resist rape is a role you can have. But here are, and I didn't print them out because I don't want to waste the money or time on them. But here are some of the things that you can roll for to really flesh out your character. Areola width by race. So a troll's areola can be a max of 6 inches, where a human's can only be a max of 4 inches, and all the way down to a quarter of an inch. I know this. This is in my fucking head now.
You can never unknow it.
I can never unknow that there is a modifier if you're a troll for how big your titty disc is.
They told me I could be anything when I grow up, so I decided to determine areola size via dice.
Nipple length.
It's like fucking Reddit made an RPG. Like that's what that is.
Areola color.
What's the max for nipple length?
I don't remember and I don't want to, but I think it was about an inch. I think that sounds about right. Could you imagine having an inch-long sausage sticking out of your chest? Like, my God.
Pew.
Maybe when you were breastfeeding.
Not even when I was breastfeeding, no.
But, like, it's not realistic. And, of course, everything in there, they disclaim this as, like, this isn't for kids. It's, like, fine. But this is to make it more realistic. Because you want a real gritty, rough, realistic fucking.
Because you want a troll with 6-inch areolas and 1-inch nipples, and that's realistic, you know?
But don't worry, you can roll to resist the rape.
You can roll to resist rape, so there you go.
With a minus 34 to strength because you're attractive.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're attractive, it's easier to rape. Anyway, here's one that's not so sexual, you'd think. By race, head circumference.
Okay.
Additionally, vaginal circumference.
Oh, yes, I like to measure that.
Right? So if you know your head circumference, and you know someone's vaginal circumference, as well as their vaginal circumference potential.
You just put your whole head up there.
Yeah. I use a telescopic lens.
If you use an implement.
What head are we talking about?
Head, like hair head, like head that I talk from. Not that head. There's that, obviously.
I was just like confirming that we were talking about the head.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Head, not dick head.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have something in there that is larger than the potential vaginal circumference or anal circumference potential, there will be ripping and tearing, which obviously has a bonus and a negative. And oh my God, I had to read this. Hymen resistance.
Hymen resistance?
For when you're raping a virgin. How likely am I to burst their hymen? That's based in fact and science.
Super based in fact.
with my head
Hi.
that is a certain circumference.
I'm gonna listen to Disney music on the way back home.
I think any listeners will be like tapping that
Yeah.
black card right about now.
Yeah. And 6 pages on all the different aspects of pregnancy, where and some of it, to its credit where credit's due, was a little scientifically based. Like there is a role based on your constitution where the egg is, or where the zygote is going to implant. So you can have an ectopic pregnancy, which kills the mother instantly.
Instantly.
Obviously, because you can't have that, woman playing your game.
Yeah.
All the way to losing that zygote entirely. Like it just falls out of the vagina. I don't know.
Vagina?
I don't know.
It just doesn't.
It took a
implant.
wrong
That
turn in
happens.
Albuquerque.
Yeah. Again,
It just doesn't implant.
Yeah, so it's like it can not implant, but of course it's not worded that way.
Yeah.
But so that's it's kind of there. But also, like, if you're having sex with someone who has pregnancy, what is their cervical circumference potential?
What?
So that like it goes
That
on
makes
and on
no
and on.
sense.
Whose coffee is this?
Yours now.
Cool.
So
It smells good. I like
Mystery
coffee.
So again, I read.
I think it was
100
squishies.
I had 130 pages of this of 901.
I can't imagine. Like that's
I don't know that anyone's ever played this game, but knowing what I know about gamer culture and the way people deal with this, I'm sure there was a group of people that just got fucking giddy about it and played this game and thought it was just a laugh riot. So that's Fatal.
All
I
that
still play
to
it.
adult
to
all that
this
math,
day.
like it
It's the
seems to
same
be like it'd be
6
way
guys.
easier to just like plan an orgy
Well,
and
and
do all
their
that
same-
fucking math.
Well, and
in
again,
their same grandma's basement
and not only is it
as they were
obviously
playing it when it came
disgusting.
out.
Not only is it obviously disgusting, not only is it not scientifically based and just gross in the way that a 12-year-old thinking about sex can be gross, it mechanically sucks. Like, it's not even a fun game to play if you had to play the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, it gets me a little worked up when I have to think about Fatal, and now it's written in my book, so
it's there
it's
forever.
there forever.
Now you know.
And now
It's
you know.
in
And
your
knowledge is power. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, knowledge is power, except I'm sorry, everyone.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Some knowledge is a mind virus. Ha.
Yeah, that's a meme. Yeah. Not a good one. That's a meme.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up. And that with our ending out with Fatal. I'm Ood Gallifrey,
Sageberry.
Richard Bigley.
and in studio with us.
Sprout.
And Arthur Tallis.
Thank
Yes,
you.
apparently I have 6-inch areolas and 1-inch nipples.
There we go.
Very nice.
We
And
know.
I
now-
don't. JK.
And now I have a 37-inch penis.
Perfect.
Yay.
And my cervical width is 38 centimeters.
Yeah.
Done.
When he unzips his jeans and it sounds
about
like a
your-
pound of ham hitting
How
the
about
floor.
your fortitude save to see, or no, what was it? The save to see if
I'm already
the
trying to erase it from my
zygote will
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're safe
implant?
to see whether or not your baby will implant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
I
That's
roll a 1. It's a miscarry.
It's ectopic. One was an ectopic pregnancy.
Okay, well it's an ectopic pregnancy,
Sorry,
so
you're dead.
I'm dead.
And you don't have to play anymore.
Yeah, re-roll. Maybe be a man this time.
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah. The end.
At least to even up those mechanics, men should get like automatic necrotic dick rot on a natural one. I think.
Oh, and like I'm sure there's an STI portion. I didn't go that far.
Oh,
Just
I'm
falls
sure
right off.
I'm sure they fleshed that out real good.
It's like the Leisure Suit Larry of RPGs kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So,
Yeah.
That's a good description, actually.
Yeah.
Already, part 2 of Dungeons and Dragons. Now you know a bit more about what those fucking nerds are talking about. By the way, thank you for being open-minded towards these different sort of episodes. You know, we like the darkness, we like the murder, we like the hack and slash political corruption, fight against the system episodes, but it's also kind of nice just to take a sober look at something in our world to see what involves it and what controversies surround it. So, to play us out, this is Never Split the Party by the artist Emerald Rose. Enjoy and see you in the after show.
I know I had a Dungeon Master screen here somewhere.
Who has my glow-in-the-dark 20-sided?
Hey, I can't find my character sheet. Where's my character?
Oh,
there it is.
You're gonna have to roll a save.
It's in with a Cheetos.
I get somebody looking at my Dungeon Master screen more than twice.
I know I gave it to somebody over here and I didn't get it back.
Roll for initiative.
I can't roll.
Now it's got yellow on it. We were skulking through this dungeon, a mighty sorry lot. Old Galliard the fighter had been acting like a sot. Our cleric had colitis, our torches all were wet, but we had to find some treasure soon to get us out of debt. So Galliard and Sonia were itching for a fight. Come here. They both took the left fork while we went to the right. And that is when we heard it, the sound of rolling dice. We wondered why we had ignored these words of sage advice.
Diversified portfolio.
Don't you know you never split the party? Clerics in the back, keep those fighters hale and hearty. The wizard in the middle, where he can shed some light. And you never let that damn thief out of sight. So then we heard this bellow from back around the bend. We turned around to see if there was aid that we could lend. And suddenly the corridor was covered up with orcs. We fell back in a panic, feeling like a bunch of dorks.
One of my dice up cubic to call you.
The thief had pissed his leathers, our monk was turning blue. Our wizard got all flustered and he covered us with goo. The cleric swung his holy club, some orcish skulls to break. We tried to dodge his backswing as we pondered our mistake. Don't you know you never split the party? Clerics in the back, keep those fighters hale and hearty. The wizard in the middle, where he can shed some light. And you never let that damn thief out of sight. We finally found our fighters, they were hacking at a troll. They chopped off knees and elbows, but it kept on growing holes. Our wizard flung his fireball, his dice they did not fail. He torched that troll and left our fighters roasting in their mail. The cleric had his hands full, apologies were said. We swore an oath we'd stick together just like we were wed. But then we found that sneaky thief had vanished in the gloom. We caught him stuffing pockets in the secret treasure room. Don't you know you never split the party? Clerics in the back, keep those fighters hale and hearty. The wizard in the middle, where he can shed some light. And you never let that damn thief out of sight. Don't you know you never split the party? Clerics in the back, keep those fighters hale and hearty. The wizard in the middle, where he can shed some light. And you never let that damn thief, you never let that damn thief, you never let that damn thief out of sight.
Hello, I'm Mood Gallifrey. This is the after show. This after show, we're reading the rest of the prayers to Valhalla from the month of November. If you would like to pray directly to Valhalla, just send it to our Twitter, and we may read it. Just make sure to send it as a prayer. Just add us or send it in our mailbox. Or if you want to guarantee your prayer being read, just for a little as $1 a month, you can join our Patreon, get a whole bunch of bonus stuff, including access to the behind-the-scenes, Patreon-only Discord, where we have all kinds of discussions about all kinds of things. www.patreon.com/ovpod. From Sephi. Praise Val for truck drivers who follow you and make sure you haven't lost anything when you get out of Dodge so fast you forget to close the rolling door. Yes, I agree. I often have to depend on the kindness of strangers to keep my life in order. So Valhalla bless those strangers. From Exeria. Dearest Valhalla, please be with my family who is hurting so badly right now with loss. And please be with dear Wyatt, wherever he may be now in incarnation, amen, hail Val. Losing someone is never easy. It always feels disjointed and violent while everything is standing still. It's paradoxical. So I hope that Valhalla hears your prayer. I'm so sorry for your loss. From Lady Lyra. O Goddess Valhalla, please be with my grandparents. My grandfather goes through his hospital stay. May he come out of this in one piece. Hail Val. Yes, I hope your grandfather is stout of body and mind and pushes through his hospital stay. From the Caffeinated Squirrel. My greatest goddess Valhalla, please ensure my sweet pup passes safely over the Rainbow Bridge and is fully restored to her full strength she once had. Please give strength to my mum, who was able to be there with her as she passed. Hail Val. And losing a pet is never easy. I've lost pets. Both them leaving my life and them dying. It always feels like you're losing something so innocent and fragile when a pet dies. Like you let them down. I know that pain, and I hope you find solace. You probably gave that pup lots of fun, great years. And may her passage beyond the Rainbow Bridge be peaceful, happy, and fulfilling for the little one. From Kirby Mon. O blessed Valhalla, please shine upon our dearest Sprout with your eternal strength and endless good vibes. Yes, Sprout, a member of our community and a member of this very episode, like anyone else, has struggles, and we support her in these days. You know, the winter season is hard on everybody, as if it isn't hard already, so we need a blessing from Valhalla all around the table. From Miss Alleycat. Blessed Goddess Valhalla, grant me your determination and badassery as I wait to hear if I nail the interview with the Bone Museum, that I can officially work with the epic skeletons of all creatures. Well, holy fuck, that sounds goddamn awesome. I hope you get to work at the Bone Museum, and I hope that on the Discord I hear all about that shit, because it sounds interesting. Alrighty. Have a great day, people. If you haven't done already, make sure to back up your cell phone and whatever data you have, because electronics are very unreliable. Happy holidays!